Hi, my name is Ashley Hine, and I am in Bio111, and my biofuels video is over ethanol. So, so like the background information, so like who invented ethanol? So that's a picture of him. It's Samuel Morey. So Samuel Morey experimented with different internal combustion chemicals mixtures that use ethanol as his source of fuel. So when he used ethanol like in different products and like to make that ethanol he created it in order for his like machines to run more properly, and like the source of ethanol that he was using to create it was like different types of like livestock feed and stuff like that, so it's kind of interesting. And so like what are the early uses of ethanol? The early uses of ethanol were like used in power engines. And so there was another inventor named Nicholas Otto in 1826 who had previously invented a four-cycle combustion engine in which he chose to use ethanol as like the running like oil for it, and it worked out great for him. So like what is ethanol? Ethanol, as previously mentioned, is like made up of like biomass feedstocks that are grown and collected. So grown in like fields and then collected over time and like used for ethanol making. So like once it's grown and collected, then they take it to facilities for it to like fermentate into ethanol over time. So like once it is turned into ethanol, it's transported into multiple fuel terminals, and typically like gasoline and ethanol are mixed together to improve gas quality for cars. So like I thought that was kind of interesting. And so what are like the advantages? And advantages of ethanol, like it burns more completely compared to unleaded gas. So, and it is also like less harmful for emissions coming from tailpipes. It also reduces carbon and helps improve the air quality around us. So, ethanol production and ethanol is also creating more jobs for Americans today. So, I think that's some like the major advantages of it. So, next we have like, is it photosynthesis, respiration, or fermentation? So, ethanol process is actually fermentation process, which means it converts multiple types of sugars such as glucose, fructose, and sucrose into cellular energy. And from this process occurs in normal spaces when pressurized. In this process, the ethanol starts to bubble and then releases pressure. And this process is super important because ethanol is used as a major transportation fuel outlet, and it is important for us to continue to use. So, like, what is the current development of ethanol fuel? So, currently, the world ethanol production is carried out in a biological pathway. So, basically, like the fermentation process. So, as it is referred to as ethanolic fermentation, and this process is the development of ethanol, which is important for us since it is used for additives in major gasoline and major products such as gasoline. Throughout the process, we have found that ethanol blending gasoline is super important and compared to just like it's better for your like cars and stuff like that versus it just being like pure, just pure gas being used. So like the carbon footprint. So like why is it important? So it's important for the reduction of global like and warming effect. So like by using raw materials, it is subjected for types of analysis of different competitions. So basically like in the carbon footprint, it's not as major because it is like fermentating versus like being dug out of the ground and like having all our sort of like emissions come from it. So it's basically just a fermentation process that makes the carbon footprint better. So the economic footprint, so it's created over 78,000 more jobs directly associating with ethanol production, but indirectly it's created 342,000 jobs that are indirectly like supported by ethanol, but like still supported in a sense. So like it's still using ethanol, but like not as much as like the 78,000 jobs before. But the industry as a whole has created over $34.8 billion in household incomes, so an increase in that, and then over 57 billion in the nation's overall domestic growth, which was quite a bit of money for that. So my future plans for ethanol. So since ethanol is a major competitor in the market when it comes to biofuels, I think it's important for ethanol to continue its production, but mainly to like maintain its decrease in emissions. Because like I saw that they were having problems with like maintaining its decrease and like increasing of stuff. So like if we make sure that it creates maintains its decrease in emissions, it'll be a better biofuel for our our world. And if money was not a problem, I'd continue working with the ethanol field to create better energy resources out there. Because like right now they're just mostly mixing it with gasoline. I think it'd be interesting to like test out how reliable biofuel on itself could be on its own, rather than like just mixing with gasoline. Because like I saw it when I read about it, it was like they use this thing called like E90, and so it's like 10% ethanol and 90% gasoline. So they're like mixing it to like test and see like how like good it can hold up on its own. So making it more efficient, but also having less carbon footprint out there, I think could be really interesting for future with ethanol. And there are my citations.